So now we're going to go ahead and program the third motor. So the NXT box comes with 3 motors, and the third motor can be quite handy. It can be used as an arm, so it can lift certain things. There's a lot of different building additions that you can add to it that you can be as creative as you want and add to your robot. So we're going to go ahead and configure that motor. So just like the other ones, if you had all 3, you could call this one your left motor, your right motor, and this one can be, I've called it arm because I've used it as a lifter. So we can program all 3, so we can make our program drive. Let's say we wanted our robot to go forward and then lift the right arm. We could go ahead and write a quick code for that. And so it could go forward and maybe it will drive for a minute and then it'll lift that up for, let's say, half a second. And to lift the arm forward and backward, to lift it up and down, you can play around with the forward and backward to make it lift certain things. So that's one way that you could program your arm. If you wanted to use the driving configure type, you could actually just make both ports the same. So let's say if I had my third motor into port A, but I wasn't using the other 2 anyway, then I could go ahead and just configure this. So when I'm writing my code, I could say that I want to repeat maybe a couple of lifts, and I would like to maybe set my speed to 20, and I want to bring it, I want to lift it so it's actually going to be backwards, so I want to bring it the opposite way. Then I want to stop it, and then I want to reset that speed again to 10 and bring it back down 10 centimeters. And if I wanted to repeat that for a certain amount of time, I could go ahead and write a code like that. You can see something like that here. So it could lift up and down. You could go ahead and use different touch sensors to make like a remote controller, and you could do that by, let's say, using 2 of the touch sensors. So maybe I'll have in these 2, we'll put touch sensor 1 and touch sensor 2. Whoops. And I could go ahead and make my own little remote control. So if I press down 1, maybe it will go up and the other one will go down. So I could go ahead and do that. I could do this quick code. So we need to enter is press and forever repeat. And I want to wait until, for the touch sensor, I want to wait until the touch sensor is pressed. So I can go ahead and put that in there. Then maybe I want to turn my arm forward and only have it run for a short period of time. So I'm going to make it 0.01 because I don't want it to turn for very long. And then maybe I want to bring it forward again. And we can even duplicate this and do it again. And maybe I want to stop it this time. So I can do that if I press the first touch sensor, and then maybe for the other touch sensor I want to do something else. Maybe I want it to drive. So then I could have it lift certain things. So driving up to it and then being able to lift. So we'll go wait until. I'm going to add that in there. So there's lots of different things that you can program with the arm. You can be as creative as you want. If you want some ideas, just go on YouTube and see what other people have done. It's pretty cool. And there, so right now my program says that when I press that orange button, it's going to wait until I press the first touch sensor, and then it's going to start turning the arm forward. And if I wanted it to go the opposite way, I could change it to backwards. So it's going to start going backwards, wait for a second, then it's going to go forward. So it's going to go up and down for 1 second, and then it's going to stop, and it'll repeat and wait again for me to press that button. It won't keep repeating. It'll still wait until the touch sensor is pressed. And then here, if I set it to touch sensor 2, it's going to wait for me to press that second touch sensor, and then it will drive for 10 centimeters each time. So each time I press down, it will move. So these are just some ideas that you could use with your third arm. There's lots of building attachments that you can take a look at. I mean, there's games that you could create your own kicker, and you can play a game of soccer and make your own remote that way. So there's lots that you can do with that third motor. So go ahead and check it out, and you can configure it in port A, or you can use it as configured in the drive type by just changing the ports to port A if you're only using it as that motor. If you don't need it to drive, you can use it that way as well. So go ahead and check it out.